Ancient Egypt was a time for many different and fascinating events left in our history books for modern-day society to give us the knowledge and understanding of Egypt's ancient society and culture. There were many different periods and dynasties which all had their own unique events and traditions from one dynasty to another. But today I will be focusing on the 4th dynasty of ancient Egypt and how the events which occurred during the 4th dynasty impacted Old Kingdom Egypt. The 4th dynasty was known as the Age of Pyramid Builders, and a time for strong and centralized government, allowing for Egypt to bring any needs and abilities into building the dynasty and what came in between it. It began with its first pharaoh known as Snefru, who was the first pharaoh. Knowledge of Snefru was only found out by the Palmero stone, as it holds records of Snefru. Snefru built the first step pyramid of Midam, and another step pyramid in Dashur called Sila. Snefru was able to build such pyramids as he had gained resources and workforce after he led military expeditions into Libya and Nubia. This was what kicked off what is known as the Golden Age of Pyramids. While Snefru built and worked on both pyramids, the southern pyramid of the two is known as the Blunted Pyramid. It is called the Blunted Pyramid due to its shallow angle of inclination than the smaller pyramid, and was believed to have been due to structural problems, as these pyramids were the first of their kind to have been built. This was also known as the Red Pyramid, as the limestone on the pyramid used to be red, but due to the value and rarity of that limestone, it was ripped off of the pyramid. Snefru opened a door to the new architectural phenomenon, as his successor Khufu built one of the 3 pyramids at Giza. Khufu married the daughter of Hetepheres II, Meresank III. The pyramid at Giza belonged to Khafra, who was the successor of Djedefre. The pyramid stands at 136.5 meters and seems the tallest, as it is standing on a 10-meter high bedrock and is the only pyramid with a little bit of limestone still remaining at the top. The 3rd pyramid belonged to Menkora, Khafra's successor. The Great Sphinx was carved out from a rocky outcrop and is 73 meters long and 20 meters high. The Great Sphinx has the body of a crouching lion and the face of a human. It is said to be that of a king, as it wears a royal headdress. The 4th ended with the final pharaoh known as Shepseskaf. Shepseskaf worked on finishing the temple's Menkauras and building his own royal tomb known as Mastabat el Faroun, known as Pharaoh's Bench, and was a mastaba that was used by previous dynasties, and was built in Saqqara. The 4th dynasty had many different events and outcomes that had occurred during that time, but was very commonly recognized for its outstanding architecture, the Great Pyramids of Giza. The 4th dynasty, commonly referred to as the Golden Age of Pyramids, was the dynasty who built the iconic pyramids of Giza and many other architectural landmarks. The dynasty began with its first pharaoh, Snefru. Snefru had reigned for over 24 years, from 2613 to 2589 BC, and began a new revolution for pyramids in Egypt. Snefru's mother was Meresank I. Snefru was married to the previous pharaoh's daughter, Hetepheres, also known as Daughter of the God. The Annals of Snefru is a rock carving on the Palmero stone, showing the pharaoh smiting a chieftain. Snefru played an important and vital role during the 4th dynasty, as without him, the pyramids that we all know would not exist today. The 3 greatest pyramids we know and love are also the most important pyramids to the Old Kingdom Egyptians, as they were symbols of the king's powers, as the power and resources harnessed by those kings were only then able to build such infrastructure. Those kings were Khufu, Khafre, and Menkore. The end of this dynasty is clearly unknown, as very little evidence has been recognized. But archaeologists know that Shepseskaf did not have the title Son of Re, as it seemed he was moving away from the faith of Re, the sun god. The pharaohs after Shepseskaf all added the title Re, and may have been the reason for a new dynasty being formed. The 4th dynasty Egyptians all saw the faith within the pyramids as they were not only tombs, but places of worship. The Egyptians all believed in an afterlife, as when entering the pyramids, all entrances of the pyramids face north towards circumpolar stars, set in one of the earliest forms of texts written in carvings in the pyramids. It states that is where the pharaohs would go after their deaths. Egyptian gods are also occasionally mentioned in inscriptions, as in Khafre's Valley Temple, with the Nekbet goddess portrayed in his mortuary temple. Menkaura's statue shows him alongside a gnome goddess, Hathor. Throughout the pyramids, texts were written across walls which included spells which were there in order to ensure each king had a safe arrival to the afterlife. The 4th dynasty started with the famous pharaoh, Snefru. But why and how? At the end of the third dynasty, the last pharaoh named Huni did not have a male heir from his main queen to become his successor. So after his death, a minor wife of his who had a son took upon the throne. His name was Snefru. Because Snefru's mother came from a different branch of the royal family, Egypt's ancient chroniclers placed Snefru at the start of a new dynasty, thus beginning the great fourth dynasty of the Old Kingdom Egypt. The 4H dynasty of Old Kingdom Egypt became a pinnacle to Egypt's history, and one of the most important ones of all of Egypt's history. One main reason the fourth dynasty stood vastly different was that it was a period in which the Egyptians had realized the potential of centralization to its utmost extent, as this was the first period in which trade was found within Egypt and other nations. The new standards of living had risen, as tomb inscriptions tell us of many superior officials being granted estates for their level of hierarchy. The people who worked on these estates had their income relied on dues and taxes. This came to show the start of an economic growth within Egypt. Dynasties which occurred before this did not have such advanced ways of an economy. The pyramids are a major yet obvious reason, as it was only a dynasty before, or the third dynasty, who began the construction of pyramids, with some being like the step pyramid, but were never successfully fulfilled until Snefru finished the six-step pyramid, known as the step pyramid. The fourth dynasty had many events, some of which have impacted Egypt's ancient societies for millennials. Many of these events led to the creation of massive infrastructure which still stands today, knowledge of ancient religion, and even the beginning of an economy within the ancient world. Fun facts about the pyramids. The Great Pyramid of Giza is the only surviving member from the 7 ancient wonders of the world. Ancient Egyptians had built pyramids for over 1,000 years. The Great Pyramid of Khufu weighs over 5.7 million tons. Mammoths still walk the earth as the pyramids were built.